Yo, what up? It's your boy EM, representing Arleta, California, to the day I motherfucking die, you dig? If you want any exclusive interviews, any new music that's straight from the motherfucking street, holla at your boy at EDDYPMIRRORS@AOL.com. You heard? Today's topic will be on numerous of things. Pause. This topic of the day is DJs. That was from the Skummz. The topic is based on the Skummz of the Earth and all of that bullshit, you dig? I want to give a special shout out to all the real motherfuckers that been emailing me all kind of shit, you know. A lot of motherfuckers emailing me questions. I'm about to get into some of that in a minute. A lot of motherfuckers been emailing me beats. And you know, I'm not hating at all, you know what I'm saying? Like thanks a lot for the beats, you know what I'm saying? And if everything goes down the way I plan things to be in the future, you know, I might, want to jump on those couple of beats and give y'all that raw shit, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate all of the support though. Real talk, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't no motherfucker in disguise. If y'all niggas got questions, personal questions and all of that, just keep sending them in, you know what I'm saying? I'll get to it whenever I have a motherfucking chance. But yeah, I wanted to talk about during the time when I was a part of the Scum crew, you know what I'm saying? A lot of motherfuckers, spreading a lot of rumors and shit. But the only reason why I'm doing this shit is to tell the motherfucking truth, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got no hate in my blood whatsoever, you know. There's a lot of haters out there, speaking on bullshit, saying shit, but I could care less about all that, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to, spit the truth, and that's that. And if you don't like that, go find something else to do besides trying to follow me, because this is not motherfucking Twitter, you dig? Go follow my Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And if you want that, I'll give you the Twitter page through my email if y'all motherfuckers want to follow me as much as y'all motherfuckers do. But anyway, besides all of that drama, I wanted to jump into the years I was a part of Skummz of the Earth, you know what I'm saying? I say from like 1993 to like 1996, you know what I'm saying? Basically, I started off, meeting the boss out of the whole shit, you know what I'm saying? The HNIC of the shit. Pretty much the organizer / mentor / poor righteous teacher, you dig? And he go by the name of Soul Myth. Now, Stephen, he was one of them niggas I was with Soul Myth at the time when they came up with the name. And as far as me knowing who Stephen is, I never met him. Never seen him in my whole life, you know what I'm saying? I heard about him, and that was that. I didn't hear shit that was negative or shit that was good, you know what I'm saying? It was just a person I never met that was around during that time. But I guess after motherfuckers graduated from high school during Soul Myth years or whatever, when he was in high school graduating and shit, that I don't know them motherfuckers lost contact, but I always heard about Stephen. I heard like 4 songs he did with Soul Myth, but I never got a chance to meet the nigga. You dig? As far as Dre Sadio, I met Dre Sadio. You know, he was a real good brother. You know what I'm saying? He was an Asian dread. He was a Filipino with like some long ass dreads though. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the main first DJs that I ran into when I was a part of the movement. You know, when I ran into Dre Sadio, I think if you split the two names, you know what I'm saying, it stand for something. Dre, I don't know if the nigga, I never knew the nigga real name, you dig? He went by Dre Sadio. I don't even know if that was his motherfucking real name, but when that nigga was the DJ, you know, he was mixing boards properly, you know, and his name was very meaningful. I don't know if Dre stand for Andre, short for Andre, but it was something like that. And Sadio was something that had to do with something in science. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, besides all that bullshit, he was a cool brother. But when I met him those 4 times, one time we went up to the nigga job, you know, while he was on lunch break, you know, chopping it up with him and shit, you know, talking about me and Skummz's projects and, you know, when he was gonna come down, because the thing was, the nigga didn't have no phone. Like, he had a phone, but he was never home. So what Skummz used to do, you know, when he used to come up with some rhymes in his head or just any type of similar project he wanted to put together, you know, he'll literally go up to Dre Sadio's job and tell him about, you know, the moves he was going to be making with the music, and he needed him to be a part of that shit. So that's how much love them niggas have for each other, you know what I'm saying? The second time I seen Dre Sadio, I seen him on the bus stop, you know what I'm saying? I was catching a bus. I seen him there, and I was with Skummz at the time again, and we pretty much kicked it, you know what I'm saying? We smoked a couple cigarettes, you know, drank a little wine, you know, them little cheap little wine coolers. You know, I can't even remember what kind of wine it was, but all I know, it wasn't nothing big. It was just some little small shit, you know, for the time being. And we was just, you know, talking until, you know, the nigga bus came or whatever. The third time I seen the nigga, I seen him at Skummz's house. And when I seen him, you know, I don't know if the nigga rap. I never heard him rap. I never heard Dre Sadio rap, but, you know, from what I hear from what I hear and what I think honestly that he taught Skummz how to mix the boards. I don't know if it was the other way around, but from my understanding was that back then Dre Sadio, he had skills, you know, he wasn't there to play games and nothing like that. Like, every time I seen that motherfucker, he was always serious, you know, he was very, very serious minded. He wasn't like the motherfucker that be cracking jokes and all that, you know. He was just about business, you know. He wasn't into like sitting around not doing shit. He was always on his grind, you know. He was always on the move, you know. That was the type of motherfucker that never stood still, you know. He liked to get out and make shit happen, you know what I'm saying? Word up. The fourth time I seen Dre Sadio, I can't even remember, man. So I'm a pass on that. I seen the nigga again, but I don't remember where it was at. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it was in the streets or in the school. You know, I can't even remember. It was so fucking long ago. But yeah, that was that. So Dre Sadio was around. Stefan wasn't. Skummz introduced me to Dre Sadio back in like 93. Riff Raff, he was around. Billy and Toby, they was around. Now, the last person I want to bring up that was around is God's Gift. He was a part of it was God's Gift of New World Order. That was the name of his little label or whatever, you know, because he tried to like, you know, put out his label, and he tried to make it big than what it already was, you know what I'm saying? So this motherfucker had like, he had his own apartment, you know what I'm saying, by himself. Then I think after that, you know, he moved in with his brother or some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, besides all of that bullshit, basically what I'm talking about is before you had Tony, At Rest, Total Bliss, AJ, and this cat Christian. Before all of those guys, you know what I'm saying, these were the guys I was around when I was around. And that's the point of me in making this motherfucking tape, you dig? Now, God's Gift, he was more of a producer. Not even really a producer, like an engineer that was behind the boards and shit, you know what I'm saying? I think he went to school for all that shit, but as far as, you know, how he came along, the Skummz or whatever, I met him at the mall, you know what I'm saying? Because when me and Soul Myth, I used to dish fucking school all the fucking time, you know what I'm saying? So I go to Soul Myth house every time I did school. I don't know what that nigga had going on, because after the nigga graduated from high school, the nigga was just chilling at home every motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he was doing, you know, when he was doing home. He probably had a side job or probably running errands for his mother. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the nigga was doing, but as far as me going over there, I was going over there, you know, just probably like 4 times a week, or even, you know, sometimes it'd be more than that. But when I used to go to his house, this shit was funny because Soul Myth, he reminded me of Tigger that was on BET, The Basement. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker look exactly like the nigga, and the nigga rap like the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Or he'll switch up his flow, like E40 or, you know, Tech 9 or something. You know what I'm saying? He had that type of style that it wasn't exactly the shit that Tech 9 and E40 rap about, but it was just like, you know, it was kind of strange. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had his own similarities how the nigga would rap. Sometimes it'd be some funny shit, sometimes it'd be some way off the wall crazy nonsense. That's who really Soul Myth was. A crazy ass lunatic / weird nigga. You dig? So the reason why I want to bring up God's Gift, because I feel honestly he was a punk motherfucker. You know, God's Gift was a punk motherfucker for numerous reasons, but I'm gonna talk about the main reason. The main reason is this nigga, I guess he came out to the valley from Oxnard, California. I never knew where the motherfucker was from, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, he had his little grocery job at the time. But besides all of that noise, we met him at the mall, because me and Soul Myth, as much as we used to hang out, we used to just go out and just start rapping. You know, we'll rap on the bus stop, we'll rap in front of bitches, we would rap in a crowd full of motherfucking people and shit. You know what I'm saying? We'll rap everywhere, all day, every day. We'll just be rapping and rapping and rapping till both our fucking voices be gone. That's how much we used to rap. We used to record a lot of shit at Soul Myth house too, but you know what I'm saying, a lot of that shit I couldn't even get my hands on. You know, I got my hands on like 3 songs, but he had gave me a CD with all of that shit on there, like all of this shit we ever done and all that. He gave me a CD, but I lost that shit, you know, before I got locked up or whatever, you dig? So anyway, when we was walking through the mall, we seen this nigga, God's Gift. Now God's Gift, he was just some light-skinned motherfucker, you know. Nigga looked like motherfucking CL Smooth, you know what I'm saying, in a way, you know. It was like CL Smooth It was the opposite. The nigga looked like CL Smooth, but the nigga rapped like Pete Rock and dropped beats like Pete Rock. That shit was fucking crazy, dog. So if you motherfuckers remember CL Smooth and Pete Rock, just reverse the two. It was a fucking CL Smooth looking motherfucker that rapped just like Pete Rock and dropped some cold ass beats, you know, when it was time to record, you know what I'm saying? So this nigga Soul Myth, that nigga thing at that time was the battle. You know, the nigga, like, even though he'll rap with his team and shit, he'll like to go out there, find rappers and shit, and start rapping with him. The next thing you know, this shit turned into a battle. The nigga start rapping against him. That was his thing back then, you know. Meeting MCs, bashing MCs at the same time. You know, he'll meet him. You know what I'm saying? Start dancing to their little bullshit rap. Then they'll start like going crazy. Like a motherfucker turn into a motherfucking lunatic. You know what I'm saying? Like when I mean lunatic, I'm talking about the nigga would just start swinging his arms everywhere, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucking head spinning like the Exorcist. Just rapping about everything. Everything that came to his mind, he wouldn't sugarcoat shit. You know, he'll let it all out. You know what I'm saying? It's been numerous of times he got kicked out the mall, you know, for, you know, disturbing the peace and shit like that. But besides all of that, we met God's Gift. I can't even remember what fucking store it was, but it was a store that they had, you know, I think it was a Hallmark. We met the nigga at Hallmark, you know, where they sell like cars and, you know, souvenirs and all that little bullshit, you know what I'm saying? We was walking from the other side of the mall, walking past Foot Locker. So that day when we went to the mall, it was pretty much dead, you know what I'm saying? There wasn't too much going on at that mall, you know what I'm saying? So this nigga Soul Myth walked up to God's Gift and asked the nigga if he fucking rap. God's Gift was pretty, you know, he pretty much replied as, "Oh yeah, I rap a little bit, you know, I rap sometime, but not really." And you know, that nigga Soul Myth was, I guess he was happy that, you know, a nigga God's Gift replied that he rap a little bit. So he told God's Gift, "Yeah, once you spit something, you know, spit something." He just kept telling the nigga, "Spit something. If you rap, you know, just spit something." So, you know, I guess God's Gift was like on some shy shit. You know, he didn't want to rap, but he was telling us the nigga rap, you know what I'm saying? So Soul Myth was like, "Fuck it, I rap," you know. So he started like just rapping, you know, rapping off the head, you know, straight freestyles. So the nigga Soul Myth was rapping probably about like a good 5 minutes, you know what I'm saying, just straight bars, you know. So after that, God's Gift was laughing at the whole shit. Then when the nigga got to giggling hard, I guess it was something that Soul Myth said in his rhymes, had the nigga God's Gift just bursting out laughing. So I guess after he was bursting out laughing, you know, Soul Myth just stopped. So, you know, niggas was talking for a little bit, you know. We got to shake the nigga hand and shit, you know, introduce ourselves or whatever. After that, this nigga God's Gift was like, "Oh, you know, won't you guys come down to my place? You know, I got a studio there." So me and Soul Myth looking at each other like motherfucking Bill Ted and Bill Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like, this nigga cannot be serious, you know, like this nigga don't even know us, you know what I'm saying? So that nigga was, you know, he was just like, "Yeah, come down to my place." So we gotta understand, we walked like a mile. Well, I ain't gonna say a mile, probably like close to a mile from where we lived at to walk all the way to the fucking Panorama Mall in the city of Panorama City, California, you dig? So we was like, "Well, where do you live at?" So, you know, the nigga told us where he lived. And we didn't have no car at the time because our main thing was just walking everywhere. or hopping on trying to sneak on the bus for free. You know what I'm saying? So that nigga gave us a ride. He had I think he had like a Celica. He had like a Celica or a Z48 or some little bucket. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a fucked up race car looking type of vehicle. We went to his house and we recorded for like 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? We laid down like 2 songs that one night. And the shit that was funny, it was like on the spot. It's like we went from, Skummz went from rapping to the nigga. And the nigga was like, why don't y'all just come down to the house? Went to his house, laid down 2 songs. After that nigga gave me and Skummz a ride home. He dropped us off literally in front of our houses. You know what I'm saying? I live probably 4 blocks away from Skummz, so he was in the same area where I was at, city of Arleta. And we exchanged numbers with this nigga God's Gift, and that was that. Now, it became like a habit on me going to Skummz house, laying shit down, and him calling God's Gift on the phone to go to God's Gift house to lay shit down. So that was pretty much like a routine, everyday life of 1995. It was pretty much like everybody was just busy, like in 1995, it was just me and Skummz, we was just busy laying down hot tracks. So out of all the times I've been to God's Gift house, I laid down 8 songs. As far as me having songs with Skummz, I have 18 songs with Skummz. But I think out of those 10 that I did with Skummz at his house, he gave me 3 songs. The other 8 I done with Skummz. I done songs with Skummz at God's Gift house that I never got back. And the reason why I call God's Gift a bitch ass nigga, because something happened where he was at home one day, right? God's Gift was at home one day. I think it was like his day off or something. And he just came home from doing laundry. So when a nigga just got home from doing laundry, some nigga, it was rumors of the nigga being from my hood, but I don't even think the nigga was from my hood, you know what I'm saying? But there was a rumor going on, a nigga knocked on his door. You know what I'm saying? So when the nigga heard the nigga was like, you just heard like a soft knock. And the way God's Gift apartment was, it was like the living room was downstairs and upstairs was his room and the bathroom. That's how shit was set up. I don't even think it was a bathroom downstairs. It was just a room downstairs, which was the living room. You go upstairs, it's the room and the restroom. So this nigga, shit, what the fuck is my cup? Excuse me, y'all. Yeah, so this nigga knocks on his door. God's Gift answers the door. And when God's Gift answered the door, it was just like some little hoodlum, that God's Gift described to us. It said it was a hoodlum, wanting to use the restroom. So God's Gift, at that time he was a Christian rapper. I don't know what type of rapper the motherfucker is now, but at that time he was a Christian rapper, but he didn't really rap a lot. He was just on some shy shit. He was just into more making beats than rapping. You know what I'm saying? So he let this little nigga in his house to use the restroom, which was upstairs inside of his apartment. So when the nigga let the nigga upstairs in his apartment, I guess the nigga got to, looking around and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he went to the restroom, he got to looking around and that nigga God's Gift house, you know what I'm saying? And when the nigga got out the restroom, when he went downstairs, you know what I'm saying, let the nigga out his apartment. Now it was an apartment, I advise you. God's gift had a little shack in the hood he was staying at. So when the nigga let the nigga out of his house, he was like, thanks a lot, man, but I forgot to wash my hands. Is it possible if I could wash my hands in your sink, please? So God's gift was like, oh, sure, go ahead. Because the nigga kitchen was like in his living room, but like in the back. So I guess when a nigga walked, literally towards the back, where the back door was on the other side of his apartment, his small ass kitchen was there. And when he washed his hands in the sink, it was obvious, the nigga was looking around, see, what the nigga had in his kitchen, or he had in that little location outside of the back door. So the nigga kind of busted like a 360, came back around, and he left from the front door. So this is when God's gift had a day off from work. So I think that nigga had like a split shift. I think the day that happened was like a Wednesday, and the day he got robbed was that same week on a Saturday. So Saturday night, God's gift, I don't know if they called him in to do some hours or whatever, but I know the nigga got off like real late, like within that next day, like Friday night. But like, I think he worked from like a 10 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning shift, Friday night. So when a nigga worked Friday night from 10 to 7 in the morning, the next Saturday, which was the following day, he didn't go straight home. The nigga went somewhere else. He went to go spend the night at his brother's house. I don't even know where his brother lived. I think at the time his brother was staying in Winnetka, California, out there in San Fernando Valley, you feel me? So when a nigga went to go spend the night at his brother's house, and him not going home that same day, that's that day where he got robbed. I don't know if the shit took place that morning, that night, that morning or the night while he was at work, or that following next day. I don't know, how niggas did the shit. But they went in his shit and they took all his shit. So when the nigga went home that Saturday, I think he got home like probably like late, not late, but like, probably like in between, 8 and 9 at night. And he realized, like, fuck, the niggas seen shit thrown everywhere. The niggas was so scandalous, niggas stole his dishes. So they took all his shit. Only thing they left in his fucking house was his bed sheets. Now, as far as his clothes being, it's coming up missing, I don't know. Like, all I know, they fucked up the whole house and took shit. So Soulmith get that call that Monday. Cause Wednesday and Saturday, that nigga God's gift had those split shifts. And them days off, which were splitted. So that Monday, he got the call. He was like, yeah, I guess, Soulmith wanted to record some music on Monday. But he didn't know how God's gift schedule was looking like. So, this nigga God's gift, I guess at that, back then, there's some shit where you could call your house phone from work, and it's like an answering service. When you call your house phone, you could, read your messages, hear your messages, and you could go by that. Then you could call, whoever, called you. So, this nigga Soulmith calls God's gift, and God's gift is not home, so Soulmith leaves a message. This nigga God's gift calls Soulmith back from work, and he was on his lunch break or some shit like that, you know what I'm saying? So he told him the whole story, you know what I'm saying? He told him like, yeah, man, I let this guy, from the streets inside my house. I don't even know him. I let him use the restroom. He wanted to use my restroom, but I kind of suspected, he was a funny dude because he just kept looking around, you know, acting funny or whatever. But I'm with God, I believe in God, so if something like that happened to me, I kind of feel like it was a reason behind all of that. That's how God's gift was. He wasn't a thief or anything, but himself. But he just felt like the karma is something he done in life where he messed up and karma just came back and bit him in the ass. You dig? So Skummz was shocked, like, oh shit, like, damn, like, what about our music? Like, Skummz care about his music, but at the same time he felt fucked up that his mans got robbed. You know what I'm saying? Especially how how everything took place when he got robbed. So. So after that, like, we didn't hear from God's gift probably for like a month to a month and a half. Like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't hear from that nigga probably like a cool, I want to say like a cool, man, probably like a good 6 weeks. We ain't heard nothing. Don't know nothing about him. The nigga wasn't answering his phone when niggas called him. Nigga was pretty much on his grind, you know what I'm saying? So when we didn't hear from the nigga for a whole month, the nigga, I guess, moved to his brother's house in Winnetka, California, you know what I'm saying? I guess he just got up out of there after, the nigga got robbed. So he calls Skummz after not hearing where the fuck the nigga been in quite some time, telling the nigga to come record. So Skummz, he used to always call me, like, Skummz, he kept shit real back then. Like, even though he only knew me and I was like somewhat his neighbor, he wouldn't call nobody from the Skummz. As soon as God's gift called Skummz to record, Skummz would call me to be like, look, man, you down? And I'd be like, nigga, what the fuck you talking about if I'm down? Nigga, it's 11 at night. Hey, man, this nigga God's gift, he's on his way. He's on his way for what? Oh, he's on his way to pick me up from my house. We better go record. Is you down? Yes or no? You know what I'm saying? That's how, Skummz used to operate back then. Like, he just looked at it like shit. He took that free studio time as one of his advantages, to go out there and get some shit done. You think? So I think one of them times I didn't go to the studio with Skummz after God's gift got robbed or whatever. When he called me 11 at night that one night, I did not go. You know what I'm saying? But we wind up going again over there. Like, that one time I flaked on Skummz, but the second time I went. You know what I'm saying? When I went the second time, we didn't really do songs, like, it was like a collaboration with me, Skummz, God's Gift, and God's Gift's brother. I forgot that nigga name. I think it was, Keyshawn or, some weird shit. It's Keyshawn or something like that. So we was just all rapping at the same time, you know what I'm saying? It was just kind of like, the song, the way the shit was set up is niggas had the hook, but niggas had to spit the hook themselves. So, like, we'll say the hook, but I would say the hook, then I'll rap. And whoever was next after me would say the hook, then they'll rap. And whoever was after him, they did the same shit. So we only laid down like one song, niggas was just chilling, talking shit, talking about music and just rapping or whatever, So the third time I rapped, the third time I went over to the third time I went to, excuse me, y'all. Yeah, but the third time I went to motherfucking God's Gift house. It's weird because Soulmouth wound up flaking on us. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy as hell. Soulmouth, he didn't go that night. You know, I think he had some shit to do, or something came up where he couldn't leave the house. I don't know for whatever reason, but he had to take care of something. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't go. And this nigga, God's gift, came all the way to my house. You know what I'm saying? I guess someone set it up like that. He like, I can't go, but let me call E. He probably want to go. So the nigga called me like, hey man, you want to go? I'm like, go where? He's like, oh, God's gift, he's on his way. I was like, yeah, I roll, hell yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's get it on. But he told me it was only one problem. I'm like, what's the fucking problem, my nigga? He's like, I'm not going. I'm like, you not going? Nigga, why you not going? Every time we go over there, I go with you. He's like, I just ain't going, I got some shit to do. So I was like, all right, whatever, just get a nigga my address and tell that nigga to swing through, you dick. So this nigga God's gift picks me up. So I advise you. First time I didn't go, Soulmouth went. The second time me and Soulmouth went. The third time I just went solo. You know what I'm saying? So when I went, the nigga God's gift used to play like all these different beats. You know what I'm saying? He'll play like 14 different beats and just tell me, pick a beat you like and we gonna get it on from there. So I think what fucked me up that night, I smoked some weed with his brother. His brother was there. So when his brother was there, I think we were smoking out of a like little bullshit weed pipe. You know what I'm saying? So it was weird because I wasn't as energized before I went there. I didn't have shit written down. Like I wasn't prepared. It was just kind of like on the spot type shit. It was kind of like, it was like a test. Like, damn, how good you are without someone being around you. It was that type of shit. Because I used to rap a lot, but it was just Soulmouth. He always gave niggas that motivation because he'll start rapping about some shit and, just giving niggas ideas. And you're like, okay, I'm going to rap this way about some shit. You know what I'm saying? It was pretty much the first time during that time I ever been like in a real studio, where motherfuckers had shit prepared on their end, but they expect you to have your shit prepared. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just had to be on point with your pen game and your freestyle game. That was the way shit was back then. You know what I'm saying? So I had rapped some shit to a beat, and we didn't record it, and then I was just playing around rapping. But I said some like hot shit that I thought it was hot, but I didn't know why I didn't remember none of that shit. But none of that shit got recorded. So after that, me and Soulmouth had did a song like a while back from that time, where I literally went to his house one time and we was working on some songs that we was gonna do, but we just never did it. You know what I'm saying? We worked on some songs. It took us a minute to write this shit down, but then when it was time for us to record, it was just late. It was just like too late. So we just pretty much said, we was gonna schedule to do it like on some other, on another day. We just, kept our shit, but we just never laid the shit down. You dig? So he played the beat. This nigga God's gift played the beat, and I was like, wow, I'm thinking in my head like, yeah, I probably could use, the shit that I wrote with Soulmouth onto that beat. So I asked that nigga God's gift, for some paper or whatever. I wrote down as much as I could remember from the song I written with Soulmouth, back then. So it didn't take that long, for me to write all this shit down and, memorize all that shit. It was just that I felt like a song should have been done as far as me you know, getting business handled. I didn't want to go up in there, you know, freestyling this shit and feeling sloppy, you know what I'm saying? So when I lay down the raps for these clowns, they didn't like it. Like literally they just stopped the session. They hit the stop button and they was like, nah. And I come out the restroom because that's how they had a little mic set up and all that shit, you know, in the restroom. Had some new equipment that I guess him and his brother went half on and shit. Had shit set up in the living room and shit. So they didn't like the shit that I was spitting, you know what I'm saying? So they felt like they just want to hear something different. That's how they felt. So this nigga Keyshawn, this nigga starts rolling up some more weed. He's like, look, man, you might need some more weed, you know, because that song, I wasn't feeling it. It's just not going to work, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at God's Gift the whole time. God's Gift not saying nothing, though. You know what I'm saying? It was just like if Keyshawn sat that nigga down like a pupil, you know, he was just like dictating shit, you know, saying however he felt. And God's Gift he was just acting weird that day, dog. I never seen God's Gift ever act like that. Like God's Gift was the type of nigga, if you went over there to go rap. He didn't care. He just push record, you know what I'm saying, and sit up there and listen to your shit. But I guess when Keyshawn, because I never recorded music with Keyshawn being around, because at that time, before God's Gift stayed with Keyshawn, God's Gift was always by himself at his house, and we went over there, used to knock down songs as far as just me and Skummz only, you know what I'm saying? So when Keyshawn told God's Gift to press stop on the recording session, you know, Keyshawn was pretty much speaking his mind during that time. So we rolled up a lot of fucking weed, smoked a lot of fucking weed, you know, probably like 2 blunts, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A little Marlboro, you know, to hold it down, like a Marlboro cig. After that, after we smoked those 2 blunts, then it was just time, you know, it's time to get to work. So I guess I had spit a verse to a beat. It was like some whole different shit though, like a whole different beat. I spit a verse, and them niggas kept it. So I took that as they didn't think that shit was whack, because if they thought it was whack, they would have either pushed stop while I was recording, or they would have erased that shit. But I didn't get to lay down a hook, lay down a second verse, and none of that, you know what I'm saying? I just laid down one verse. It was a freestyle, you know. I laid down one verse with no hook, no other verse, no second verse or nothing like that. And it was crazy because when I was rapping it, I guess I didn't know when to stop. So when I stopped, they kind of like, they stopped it the way they did it. You know, it was 16 bars. So when I spit those 16 bars freestyle, they stopped the verse where literally it needed to be stopped, you know, because when the hook comes in, the beat changes. Everybody know that. So I guess when they stopped my verse while I was rapping, it came smooth with the beat changing or whatever for the hook to come in, you dig? But that song never got done the way it needed to, you know, be done or whatever, you know. That shit just got put to the side, you know what I'm saying? So after that, it was another day, you know, God's Gift. I don't know if he talked to Soulmate that day, but I was hanging out with Shaka Khan's son. I think he came to my house to pick me up. It was weird as shit how this shit happened, because I went to God's Gift house another time without Soulmate being there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the issue was with Soulmate this time, but this time somebody didn't even call me to let me know God's Gift is coming. You know what I'm saying? Point blank is, to cut the whole bullshit short, ever since God's Gift got robbed and moved in with his brother to a different city in San Fernando Valley, it was like I wasn't recording as much with Soulmouth over there. You know, we recorded one time over there, but that one time I recorded with Soulmouth, God's Gift and his brother jumped on the track. So we didn't record as much. You know, I don't know what Soulmouth had going at his house or whatever. Well, I don't know if it was just bad timing. I don't know if he was going through shit. But we wasn't recording as much together as far as me and Soulmouth recording shit at the new studio, which was at God's Gift's brother house. So God's Gift called me directly. Nigga got off work one day and was just like, he just wanted to make some shit happen. So Shaka Khan's son just came to my house, you know, to pick me up. But I forgot, you know, how that nigga even got to my house, you know what I'm saying, that night. Because Shaka Khan's son, he didn't have a car. I don't know if he had a rental that day or he got dropped off by a cab driver. I can't even tell you how the nigga got to my house. All I know, the nigga came to my house to pick me up. We was about to leave. So as soon as we was about to leave, I'm talking about, nigga, like a minute. Because Shaka Khan's son, he rarely kicked it at my house like that. You know, he either go to my house to pick me up or go to my house if I had some weed on me to go somewhere to smoke that shit. The nigga came to my house. I put all my clothes or whatever inside my backpack because, you know, I used to go over there probably like 2-3 nights or whatever to his house, you know what I'm saying, to work on some music or whatever, you feel me? So we was like a minute before we was gonna leave. You know, my step pops, he calls me into his room. So I go to his room. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? He was like, hey, man, you got a phone call? I'm like, a phone call? So I jumps on the phone, and it was God's Gift. He's like, what's up, man? What you doing? I'm like, you know, none, man, just chilling. What's popping, homie? You got my song? And he was like, oh, no, you know, I just want to know you want to come down today and record. I'm like, I was thinking, like, well, what's up? You know, you hollered at Soulmouth? Is Soulmouth rolling? He's like, I'm trying to get a hold of Soulmouth, but he's not answering his phone. And I'm not going to go over there, you know, if he's not answering his phone, you know, because, you know, he didn't want to, like, go over there and pop up unless if he talked to Soulmouth. So I was like, yeah, I'm on in the road, you know, what's up? Where you at? He's like, I'm just getting off work. I could come over there right now if it's cool with you. I'm like, yeah, come through, but you know, there's only one thing though. I got company with me. Is it cool if he could roll? I was like more like my cousin. I got my cousin with me. Is it cool if he could roll? He was like, yeah, he can come. So the nigga came to my house and like, while I hung up the phone with him, I think he had like a cell phone at that time. You know, he just got him a cell phone. This nigga God's Gift. So as soon as he got him a cell phone, he's on his way to my house. I called up Soulmouth. Nigga fucking phone is busy. So this nigga God's Gift winds up picking me up and winds up picking Shaka Khan's son up because Shaka Khan's son was with me. So he gave us both a ride to his brother's house, which was God's Gift's house too. You know, like the niggas share like a little bullshit apartment with each other. So when we go to God's Gift house, we lay down like 2 songs, and that was that. So after that, I didn't hear from God's Gift at all, dog. Like after those times I just explained to y'all, talking to the nigga God's Gift or whatever about going over there recording shit, doing all this and that. I didn't hear from the nigga at all after I recorded over there with Shaka Khan's son, you know. There was no drama or nothing like that, or, you know, nothing happened which it was, you know, out of pocket or nothing. It was just, the nigga stopped calling me. I don't know why I never got God's gift number. He always had my number. I never had his number. The only nigga that had his number was Soulman. So I just stopped talking to the nigga. You dig? Then them niggas. I guess God's gift. I don't know what type of shit he was going through, but he wound up moving to Oxnard, what I hear. And after I heard he moved to Oxnard, he mailed Soulmith like a tape. And the tape he mailed Soulmith, it was just all the shit we ever done over there. You know what I'm saying? It's one of them tapes that had everything. It was like a long film tape, like 120 minutes with just all our shit we ever did over there. And he moved to Oxnard. So the reason me calling him a faggot ass nigga, because all the songs we recorded at his house, he used those same beats, them same exact beats, to a group, and the group was called Loop Pack, spelled LOOTPACK. I don't know if they was affiliated with the Alcoholics, but it was some West Coast dickheads that rap or whatever. And God's gift used all our material, all over our, like, when I heard the album, they had an album, I can't even tell you what was the name of the fucking album, but a lot of that shit, let me see if I wrote it down. It was Psych Move, they had a single called Psych Move, but it was some other shit that they released. It was like an album with like some cartoon characters on it. Some weird shit, man. I don't even got this shit on file, but when Loop Pack, they came out with an album. It got released like in 1999, their album, but it's funny because 3 years before that, those beats, I ain't gonna say all the beats, because I don't know if God's Good produced their whole album, but some of those beats, them beats was shit that me and Soulmith done shit to. You dig what I'm saying? So that's why I consider God's Gift a faggot ass nigga. Like, why you gonna use beats that you use with us for these little dickhead looking niggas? You know what I'm saying? And I guess like Soulmith wasn't really tripping on the nigga because somewhere down the line it was a friendship between him and God's Gift. You know what I'm saying? Because Soulmith, he didn't really care about all that shit. You know what I'm saying? He was just into studying his own craft, putting out as much music as he can. You dig? So Loop Pack, I guess they from Oxnard, California too. They didn't go too far in the game because I guess the group broke up. That's what I heard. I heard the group broke up. I don't know what's going on with those dudes, but I heard they didn't last. You know what I'm saying? But they had some cool shit. At that time, 20 years ago, I guess they had some cool shit. You know what I'm saying? So God's Gift, was he a part of the Skummz? No, he wasn't. Was he affiliated with the Skummz on, hooking niggas up with tracks and shit like that? Yes, he was. Now, Billy and Toby, I already explained, what happened to those dudes back in my other interview, you know what I'm saying? Riff Raff, I guess, Tony and Total Bliss, Riff Raff bring those two niggas, into the Skummz and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I guess everybody, formed their little groups, which was a part of the Skummz at that time. You had Tony working on an album with Total Bliss. You had Core Logic working on an album with Riff Raff. And you had me working on an album with Soulmith. But at that time, Soulmith wanted to work on an album with Core Logic, but I guess they didn't, I think they scheduled, both of their schedules, like, not working good, for them two niggas. So Soulmith was still doing shit with Tony. So this nigga Soul Myth, I advise you, Soul Myth was like a workaholic, dog, because he was working on shit with me, and at the same time, he was working on shit with Tony. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how the fuck he got, two niggas to get shit going like that, but that's the way, that nigga set shit up, because I guess a lot of shit he had, as far as ideas and concepts, he had shit set up that he was gonna do with Core Logic. Them niggas couldn't see eye to eye because it was just bad timing as far as the times they wanted to hook up with each other, Shit didn't fall through the way it was supposed to fall, so he was just like, fuck it, he went on and did his own thing, as far as doing other shit with other motherfuckers, you dig? Okay, I want to answer some of the songs. Sorry, y'all. I want to answer some of the questions I've been reading on my emails. You know what I'm saying? Before I cut this film short. One of the main questions, I ain't going to say who it is, or, I ain't going to say put out their email, put out their name, none of that. I'm just going to go along with just the questions that, niggas been asking me on my email. And I'm going to answer it as much as I can right now, you dig? First question. Do you have songs with the Skummz from the 90s? My answer to that is yes, I do. I got songs with Soul Myth because at that time I was the only recording artist I was recording songs with. I got 18 songs with Soul Myth. 8 songs was done with God's gift before, he was going through it at his brother's house, and he shook us for all our fucking material and moved back to Oxnard, you know what I'm saying? So, somewhere down the line, I think he got into it with his brother, but who knows what the fuck they got into it for. But yeah, I got 18 songs with Soul Myth, if that's the answer you niggas want to know. Second question. Let me see. Oh, it's not really a question. It's a honest answer that I want to address to you guys. That has something to do with a question, but I'm gonna just speak on it though. As far as me in my last interview, I said that I ain't seen Tony in 16 years. I was tripping, man. I ain't seen a motherfucker in 10 years, I advise you. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember I seen Tony after all the drama or whatever. I seen Tony at a bar. He was in Burbank. They had like a little karaoke night that night in the city of Burbank, and he was with Total Bliss and like 3 other motherfuckers. You feel me? They was on stage doing their thing. So I got to see Tony or whatever. Shake his hand. You know what I'm saying? We smoked a little something with them dudes, and pretty much, that was that, We wasn't really there too long because we got there late, but when we got there, it was cool, because when we got there, he just started performing, you know what I'm saying? Because niggas got lost, like Soul Myth, he used to talk to those motherfuckers more than me, so I guess the way they did it was I was chilling with Soul Myth, probably like 2004. Like 10 years after I even been from the Skummz, I was still fucking with Soul Myth. That's what niggas don't fucking understand and realize. After me, leaving the Skummz, 10 years after that, I was still hanging with Soul Myth. You know what I'm saying? So when we seen Tony, we shook his hand. We got to chill with them niggas after they performed or whatever, smoked a little weed with them niggas, then we left. Okay. Are you going to drop a record with tracks back from the 90s? No, for 2 main reasons. 1, Soul Myth and I don't talk, so there's no way I can retrieve the 18 songs I did with him. 2, never got the songs I done with At Rest. Okay, last question. Did I get kicked out of Skummz? Hell no. I left for two reasons. One, I wasn't getting along with Arrest at the time. Two, Soma is not talking to the Skummz anymore after hearing about his